Hello, everyone, and welcome back to 9-Inch Charge. We've got loads to talk about in today's episode. We've seen the full reveal of Brettonia, just about, I think, and loads of cool reveals for that. The Old World website has launched, and even more rumours have surfaced about the future of the game. Now, before we start, I'm in the process of moving house. And my normal recording stuff is here, there, and everywhere in boxes and stuff like that. So I'm recording on my phone today. So apologies if the quality of the sound or anything like that is not up to its normal quality, but needs must. Unfortunately, I watched the reveal on the train because I was like, as I dropped off the van and then got the train back up. Yeah, so it's been a bit of a busy time, but it's been a very exciting time. So why don't we start off by talking about the reveal of Brettonia? So for the Brettonian release, we saw what old legacy kits are coming back, what new kits are coming, including those plastic foot knights that they've been talking about, and of course, the worst kept secret in Warhammer, the Pegasus, the brand new plastic Pegasus. So why don't we kick off with that? The Lord on Pegasus. What did you make of him, Tom?
I must admit, when I saw it, it blew me away. I think like the first shot of the video is him holding his lance high with the banner on, and I lost it straight away during that reveal. I was like, "It's here, it's back." It looks so in keeping with the old world as well. It feels like it could have come out like 10 years ago and slotted right into the range perfectly.
It's a very good example, I think, of modern sculpting technique applied to the aesthetic of the old world. Because you said it's quite in keeping, but I don't know that it's necessarily a kit that they would have been able to make. If you look at like the points of contact on the ground, there's only 2, whereas like with horses, they used to have more than that. At some point, or those big long runners that used to run into the slotted bases. Do you remember those? So it's a very cool example of a modern plastic kit fitting that aesthetic. I love that it's a multi-part kit as well. I think it's brilliant, like you said. I think it's great. I love how the Brettonians are a little bit like they're a little bit over the top now that they're back. So they talked a lot in the stream about their helmets telling a story and their heraldry telling a story. And this guy, the Duke, has got like a full-on statue and chapel of the Lady of the Lake on his head as he charges into battle. And I think that's very cool. I like all that sort of stuff, the craziness, because we were talking, we've talked for a long time about the feel of the old world, and there are bits of it that are absolutely bonkers. Like we were saying, you might walk down a path, in the Empire, and there'll be someone with like a flaming brazier on their head and things like this. So that I think that's very in keeping. I think it's got the character of the kind of bizarreness and craziness of the old world down, and it's great. And I love that it's a multi-part kit. I think it's going to be a really great plastic. It's nice that it comes with different weapon options. The Baron here has got a hand weapon, but I don't know how many people are going to use that, because surely a Brettonian hero needs a lance, doesn't he?
He's either going to have a lance or carrying a big banner, isn't he? I'm looking at this kit, and you can see how much of it is interchangeable. Like there's so many different bits and bobs you can throw on it. Like the Baron's got a massive, ridiculous cape that is only going to get in his way, and the hand weapons are all changeable. Oh, it looks fantastic.
It looks like 3 head options. It's two options for the horse as well, for that's head. You're right, there's note on there, which is very cool. Actually, interchangeable is something that is a bit of a theme, and I think if we go on to the Knights of the Realm on foot, then we can talk about them, because they're the unit that we really wanted to see. They're the brand new plastic unit. It looks like they're coming in units of 10, and I thought they were really cool and a really good addition to the army. So because it's funny, because if you remember, Tom, way back when, it might even be the first video we did on the channel, we were talking about the errantry wars and what we hoped for the game and what it might look like. And if we could see a new unit, what would it be? And this is what we picked. We said we want to see that, because when you have jousting and these kinds of games going on, there are also foot knights slogging it off, like with swords and stuff, like fighting each other and dueling. And we said we want to see a Bretonnian knight clad in armor on foot with a great big flipping sword in his hand, who's ready to go toe to toe with an orc. And this fits it just right, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's that really excellent balance between fantasy and a bit of like military history accuracy, right? It toes the line. There's a little bit in there for your people who get a bit anal about that kind of thing, but then you just give them a massive axe that is just way too big, and it still looks great. Love it.
I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, is an axe the right weapon for Bretonnians? Because I would have thought they'd have had a massive two-handed sword. But then you're getting into great swords territory, and also actually the heraldry of this from Brion, the heraldry is all axes. So actually there is a precedent for Bretonnians using big axes. I do prefer the ones with great weapons than the ones to hand, weapon, and shield, actually. And I don't know how many we will see with hand, weapon, and shield, because it's just rule of cool, isn't it?
It's always rule of cool. And as you said, interchangeability, those shields are going to go elsewhere in your army. You can use them all day on everything else.
One thing that they said in the stream, I don't know if you caught it, Tom, was these Knights of the Realm on foot, the parts are interchangeable with the Knights of the Realm on horseback. So you can change the heads and the arms around.
Yeah. Which you're going to do, right? That's going to refresh all of your cavalry and, keep these guys looking even more interested. I'm sure there's going to be some crazy stuff we'll see.
Yeah, and I really like the banner bearer in this, because he doesn't have a banner. He's got like a little mini chapel to the Lady of the Lake, and I think that's really cool.
I'm not sure how I'm going to field that in my personal Bretonnian army that I've just decided I'm doing at this reveal. I'm half tempted to put a proper banner on and do some really nice transfer work. Maybe, I don't know. I'm still undecided.
I really like it, but I suppose if you wanted a banner instead, it would work quite nice on the bottom of a base as well, or as a unit filler or something like that. It could be quite good for that. But I love it.
A really good idea.
I love them. And then the other new kit that we saw for the first time was this Handmaiden of the Lady.
Yes. She's flipping stunning, that model.
Yeah, she is.
Going to be in all of the Golden Demon, isn't it?
Yeah, I can definitely see this painted up for Golden Demon, and the cloak leaves a lot of space for freehand work and things like that, doesn't it? But it also is nice enough that you don't have to do that. You can just wash shade in the recesses and highlight, and which is what they've done here, and it still looks great. I think I'm right in saying that there's a resin model, and just looking at the thickness of the flowers and things, and I think it must be a resin model there. But that brings us to all of the new models. So obviously we've seen the two battle standard bearers, one on foot, one on horseback. We've seen the Duke on foot, and we've seen the
Paladin,
Lady Elise Duchard on her on her Pegasus. So that's all the new stuff that we're going to get. And then returning, they showcased some returning models. We saw the Pegasus Knights, the Knights of the Realm that we've kind of touched on. The men at arms are coming back, and so are the peasant bowmen. The interesting thing there is that they're doubling up the box sizes. So these used to come in 16s, because back in the day, when I first started playing Warhammer Fantasy Battles, the frontage of a unit was 4 instead of 5. So you used to get boxes of 16. This is still the case with your Dryads and your Sylvaneth army if you play Age of Sigmar. But what they're doing is they're doubling that up and giving you twice the number of sprues in a box. So when you buy your peasants, you're going to get 32 instead of 16. which is really cool because also they're quite cheap units. So, points wise, they're not going to cost a lot of points. So, and you're going to want quite a lot of them in your army. Having knights need to be something special. Well, special, I suppose, is the actual word, isn't it? They're not going to be your core. They're going to be something showcased, aren't they? And they're going to be a bit rarer. So that's cool. And I suppose it's worth mentioning that the field trebuchet is coming back, but they've retooled it so that it isn't going to come back in metal. It isn't going to come back in fine cast. It's going to come back in Forge World resin.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really good move because we know that fine cast warps. We know that metal is a pain to put together. So it's nice that they've retooled it. I know probably people still will have problems with Forge World resin, but it's the better alternative, isn't it? I suppose, rather than remaking it as a plastic kit. They're going to bring it back.
Yeah.
I think
I would rather it was Forge World resin than metal or fine cast. But, at least it's retooled as well. So it's going to be a nice fresh mold. So the first few that go off the shelves will be probably really nice and go together quite well. Just remember to give it a bath if you're going to get it. If you're not used to working with Forge World stuff, you've got to bath it, scrub it, and prep it all for painting.
So I think overall, I was really happy with what we saw. It was really exciting. It was nice to see the new modelling in keeping with the old stuff. Nice to see something a bit new for Brettonia with the foot knights, loads of cool stuff. And it was a proper reveal, not any of this nonsense. Here's one model, here's a map. It was a proper, this is what your army is going to look like. And then I had a little bit of a wobble. And I can remember I was talking to you and I was talking to Dan and I was going, they've just showcased Brettonia and they haven't shown one Grail Knight. And for me, you can't have that army without the Grail Knights because they're just so iconic. But then all the way down at the bottom of the article, almost in the small print of the article, it says, if I just read it here, it says, alongside these new and returning kits, which will form the bulk or entirety of your force, there will also be a selection of returning metal heroes and specialist units that will be available to order direct from Games Workshop. So, thank goodness. It sounds. I don't quite know what they will be because seem to have got most of the heroes covered, but. Thank goodness that they're going to have Grail Knights because they're just so iconic. I couldn't see. I know you could still have an army without them, but I just love them.
I think you'll see a lot of people converting them out of the Knights of the Realm. Swapping the heads, swapping all of the shields out with the foot knights and creating their own Grail Knights.
Yeah, quite possibly. I think there was always that criticism of Brettonia because they had two kits that made 4 units of knights. So you had your questing knights and knights of the realm and knights errant and Grail Knights, and they were all made out of 2 kits, and they were all quite, to be honest, quite similar. So that they've gone down the line that you're going to kind of have your Knights of the Realm and they're going to be painted in the heraldry of the realm is good, but I do think you need those elite Grail Knights because also the way the army aesthetic is, they want you to have your Duke's army painted in your Duke's heraldry, but Grail Knights will break that up and they'll look really fantastic because they're all kind of like lords in their own right. And I think that would just look brilliant. And like I said before, when I was saying you're going to have these massive blocks of 32 bowmen and this kind of men at arms and this kind of thing, you're going to want your knights to look spectacular, and having a unit of Grail Knights on the table will really be a focal centerpiece if you paint them nicely, all different heraldries and things. So I'm hoping to see them in that because that was the only thing about it that I found disappointing. And don't get me wrong, I don't want to be negative because this is the reveal that we've been waiting for and getting excited for. And they did it brilliantly, showing us everything and bringing it all together. So yeah, I think that is the only thing for me. But super excited for them, especially to see these models in the flesh now.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a really good reveal. To be honest, I completely forgot about the Grail Knights. I was so blown away. I was sat in work and I was ready to flip a table. I was watching it. There's still people walking around the office, and I was just like screaming at the top of my head. Just like, oh, this is incredible! Someone even popped their head in the office. I was like, oh, sorry, I was just watching something online. And yeah, I forgot about everything else that happened during this reveal show, and I was just like, this is it. We're firing on all cylinders now. We know what's coming, and it looks great. And I think there may even be more to come in the next, because there's another reveal show in November. So if we're lucky,
I think that's going to be more. That'll be Tomb Kings, won't it?
Yeah, more to get excited about though.
Yeah, absolutely.
So right at the end of the reveal, they said probably the most important thing, and they gave us a lovely release window of early 2024. So one of the first things released in 2024 was mentioned. I think they said it was the first thing released, but
and other people
are wrong.
I think they said it was one of the first. So we'll have to wait and see which it actually was. But yeah, but very, very soon in the new year is the release.
Very soon indeed.
And then with that, on Monday, the website for the Old World went live, which I'll put a link to in the description, but there isn't anything on there at the moment. It just sends you to the community articles. And on the Warhammer community page, the Old World's got its own tab now, so you can see all those articles together, where they promised us Kislev and Cathay and everything else that they and
there's some lovely artwork on the website.
Yeah, that's true. There is some really nice artwork, black and white kind of sketched artwork, which is very in keeping and reminiscent of the stuff we had in the older books, the 5th and 6th edition books, which is nice. I'm hoping that they put some more stuff on the website and don't leave it blank. What I would like to see is, do you remember the malign portents for Age of Sigmar? Or at the moment they're doing the Dawnbringer stories. It'd be nice to see some lore and some stories, something if Black Library could write a few paragraphs, because
some good primer stuff.
If I have a look on here, the website will be going live on Monday, so keep an eye on there for more information on the lore and landscapes of the Old World as we get closer to release. So if we could have some lore, some few little stories, I think that would be brilliant, and it would really help to draw us into what the setting is going to be more like.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's everything.
In the conflict between what we assume to be Bretonnians and Tomb Kings a bit. That would be brilliant.
Yeah, how did Tomb Kings end up fighting Bretonnians? Well, I think they're after lost relics, aren't they, and that were stolen. This is what they were doing. I mean, in the original lore, they were mostly fighting in the Norsemen up in Norsca for all the lost relics that were taken, but it might well be that Brettonia have got some somewhere locked up in some castles and they're looking to get them back.
Yeah,
that would be my as to why those two are at war. But anyway, let's move on to the rumors, because rumors are always super exciting and they lead on from what we have just heard. So again, I haven't really heard much about these because I've been in the process of moving. Tom, why don't you tell us these rumors?
Yes,
they come from Hastings, is that right?
Hastings is a good source.
Very good.
He's renowned for his rumor engineering.
Hastings has been in the hobby providing rumors for as long as I can remember there being rumors in the hobby, and he is normally
spotty dog.
Yeah, he's normally right. I would probably go so far as to say he's only ever wrong when the design studio have made a change from what he's originally seen or heard.
Yeah, Bretonnian and Tomb King's box is coming. and sold at 185 Great British pounds. Now,
there.
I'm reading into that, if I may, that the boxes we thought were going to be separate sound like they might be a not starter set together box. Because I think that's a hard pill for me to swallow for the boxes we talked about each being £185.
Yeah, so it contradicts the rumours that we've heard that they're going to be individual army boxes rather than a combined starter set, and which is interesting in itself. So it makes me wonder, will there be 3? You could have the combined one or the individuals, and then they would all work out being true. £185, I think, Tom, is a hard pill to swallow because a lot of these models are old.
Yeah. If every model was brand new, like the Foot Knights, yeah, I'd be leading the charge on it, but it's not.
But I suppose in that you're getting twice the amount. So yes, you're getting old peasant bowmen, but you're not getting given 16 of them. You're getting given 32 of them. And so will you have a proper full army out the box that is perfectly usable and say, 1,000 points each or more? That might swing it. If you had 2,000 point armies and a book for 185, you would probably say that's not a bad deal. I just worry that it's too much money for 20-year-old sculpts.
Yeah, I think it's too much money for it to be just Bretonians and just Tomb Kings. If I could do the handshake with you and we split it down the middle and split everything, then simple. It's a no-brainer, really. So we'll see. I'm really interested to see what's happening now.
Yeah, well, the starter set has always been a point of contention since they said it wasn't going to have it was going to have a starter set, not starter set.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to wait and see with that. So it will be interesting to see what it looks like. We'll just have to go from there. But as you said, Tom, I think probably if you split it down the middle and what was rumored to be the initial starter sets, which are 2 massive units, 32 men at arms, 32 peasant bowmen, and these Knights of the Realm and this new hero and those kinds of things. If you split that down the middle and include the rule book, that probably is about right each. But it's a big investment because these starter boxes are normally at the £120 price point. So what's the next? What's the next
rumor down? The next rumor down. Another contradictory rumor to what we've heard before is there'll be a hero on a chariot and sand mummies. I'm not sure if that's in the box, but that's going to be coming as part of the Tomb King release.
See, that's interesting to me because that seems to parallel or mirror what we've seen with the Bretonians, because in the Brettonia range review, we've got this hero on Pegasus and we've got these new knights on foot. So if we've got mummies on foot and a hero on a chariot, that kind of is equal, isn't it? I would say.
Yeah.
The rumor about the dragon, it did make me wonder if they'd seen that new Stormcast dragon.
Could have been.
I do hope there is still a massive centerpiece model for the Tomb Kings, but I do think that to me does sound likely. Yeah. And I'd be excited to see some new things like that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. When was the last time Tomb Kings had mummies?
Yeah,
I know they had them in War Master, but I'm not sure about on the tabletop. That'd be
really cool. And I think that what also would be good about them is that they'd be easy to paint because you could just contrast that cloth all day.
Yeah, that's the good thing about a Tomb King's army, isn't it? Skeleton horror, done, done. So.
Yeah, so I would say I would agree with that rumor. I think that is probably quite likely, given what we've seen with Bretonnia. The only thing I worry is that is it one of these rumors that you sometimes get? Oh yeah, well, Bretonnia have got this, so the Tomb Kings are going to get it. But Hastings isn't like that. If indeed these
No.
rumours do come from Hastings, that isn't what he's going to be like. So
Hastings seems to be that kind of person who's seen something somehow, seen something at an event so it's very interesting. So here's some stuff that is super interesting because it's going to be about some other factions in the game. Orcs and goblins, a new boar chariot, and a resin special character.
Very cool.
Oh, it's going to happen. There's going to be new orcs and goblins.
Orcs has been your army for a long time, hasn't it, Tom?
Yeah.
You'll be excited for that. I think the special character is interesting. I wonder what kind of special character that would be. It would be cool to find out. What kind of war boss that they've got there that they could make a cool sculpt of. The boar chariot, that's cool. Was that a hero or just brand new boar chariot?
Just brand new boar chariot.
Oh, they'd be cool.
Mm.
It does seem to be at the moment that what we've seen of orcs and goblins from the pictures and what these rumors are telling us, it's going to be very orc focused. Now, I don't know if this is because Age of Sigmar has got a lot of goblins in it. It does have a lot of orcs as well, but it doesn't have the same kind of orc. So I wonder if we will see any more goblins come back. I'm probably more interested in what we see for goblins than what we see for orcs, just because we haven't really seen any goblins yet for the old world.
No.
But that sounds cool. It would be nice if they got a new unit as well, like everything else is getting a new unit of foot knights, a new unit of mummies. So I guess so their new unit is chariots. That's cool. Chariot warfare is cool.
Yeah, chariot warfare is very cool. So they're really cool in Warhammer Fantasy, so I can't wait for that. That old chariot was fantastic. So the Empire, to mirror the Orcs and Goblins, are going to get 3 new plastic kits.
Wow.
There's some interesting speculation on what the 3 plastic kits are. The rumors are saying knights, militia, and a cannon, which are all kind of core Empire kits, really.
When we did the video on what would you like to see come for all the different factions, you said the core plastic militia, spearmen, halberdiers kit, didn't you? It would be nice to get them some shoes, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and some meaningful shields and weaponry. I was talking to someone about this earlier, and it's just like you look at the Bretonnian men at arms, and they're kitted out. If you're in that setting, exactly what you want: the biggest shield you can find, and the biggest pointy stick to keep something away from you, like a massive orc. The Empire, I wouldn't go anywhere near anything. I wouldn't go near a battlefield with their little shield and sword. I'd just be, and now I'm staying at home. It ain't worth it. Yeah, no shoes, no shield, no sword, no chance. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one that needs redoing, isn't it? And especially if we want to, it'd be so cool if they did that and they captured sort of the grim darkness of the world, and that they captured that these guys are going to have to fight marauding beastmen, because you're right, they don't look like they're going to be taking them on. So that would be very cool. Upgraded knights would be very good to see. The cannon, fine. That would be cool to see. I'd like to see more experimental black powder along the lines of the Hellblaster and things like that. I'd like to see them tinkering with early versions. I think the thing I'd like to see for the Empire most that isn't rumored there is new wizards, because the colleges aren't going to exist. So I'd like to see what wizards look like for the Empire.
You may see a range in resin, and it looks like a lot of these ranges are going to get a plethora of resin characters by the sounds of it. So you never know. So the first narrative book we're going to get is going to contain four factions. I assume, based on the information we have, that's Bretonnians, Tomb Kings, Empire, and Orcs, which sounds right. And then there's a second box coming later in the year, late summer, of Empire versus Orcs.
Okay, well that sounds cool, doesn't it? That sounds to me like Bretonnia and the Tomb Kings will drop, and then we'll start to have rumblings of a campaign leading up to the box release of the other stuff. That would be a good way to do it, and to drive the
Yeah.
hype and drive the narrative and explore the world. And I guess we've got a New Year release and then a summer release. That's not too bad, really. That would probably mean by the end of the year, then, if we said potentially there was another box coming out, if they pace it at that, we could have 6 factions by the end of the year, which would be pretty good.
Yeah. How many did they rumor at the start? Was it 8?
8 or 9, something like
8 or 9.
that. Yeah.
So that's a good majority of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
sounds like some really strong rumors. So, I mean, there are other rumors going into them, but they're not from Hastings. So, I don't know.
I think that, you know, we will know pretty definitively how right or wrong Hastings is in November, when the next reveal is, and where we hopefully see the Tomb Kings. If we get the mummies and the chariot, then we can pretty much say, right, you know, he's on the money.
Yeah.
I hope, you know, thinking about these rumors and that the Empire's going to get 3 new plastic kits. Part of me is thinking or worrying that the same treatment now won't happen to the Tomb Kings, and we'll end up with those awful horsemen. And I'm not a big fan, personally, big fan of the chariots because of the horses. And it will drive people straight into the arms of third-party producers and won't help the game at all, because those models are just too outdated. I mean, I was looking at Highland Miniatures chariots for their equivalent of Tomb Kings only today and thinking how good they look. So I hope maybe they'll look all right when I see them again and I see them on the table. Maybe I will change my mind, but I do worry, especially for the rumored £185 price point, that some of these models aren't going to be up to speed, because you bought an Empire army from Highland, didn't you, that somebody else printed for you and shipped? And how many points did that cost?
1,500. I think it's an easy 1,500 points. It's so I break down the models. It was 130 plus models. Some were 3D printed, and then because they had something going on, they threw in an extra wizard and a cavalry general for almost 1,500 points. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, so that's the only worry I have, really, for Games Workshop and for the release of this game. Because I personally, I won't play with those horsemen. I will go and find the other ones, and that's quite a big thing for me, because I really like, and we all like, to bring our armies to Warhammer World at least once a year, a couple times a year, and play. And I just don't know that I would be comfortable having those units in my army, and then that would mean I would have to forgo playing at Warhammer World, which is something that we always do. So yeah, let us know in the comments what you think about these rumors. Do you think they're likely to happen or not? What do you think about the release? Obviously, Tom and I were super excited about the release and about the aesthetic and about the potential of the old world coming back. It feels like we're building momentum finally. It's been a long time coming. I mean, part of me thinks that this should have been the reveal. I know we've had COVID, and I know we've had other things going on, but it's been a long time coming. It feels like this should have come a while ago, but I am super excited now, and especially if we get a similar size reveal next month and something on the website, a bit of lore to read, it'll be brilliant.
Yeah, it will be perfect. So let's hold on until November, see what's coming. And we should start to see extra articles coming out soon if it's ramping up to release date.
Yeah, that's true as well. And it'll be nice because we'll see the models, and then we'll get to learn more of the rules, and I'd like to see that.
Can't wait.
All right. Thank you very much for watching, and we will catch you next time with another update, probably coming up to the release in November. We'll chat about what we think about that. All right. Well, thank you very much. Goodbye.